22-year-old reporter marries two black men and gets pregnant. Have you ever loved two people so deeply that choosing one felt like tearing your soul in half? What if your love wasn't just forbidden? It was illegal, invisible, unspoken. I didn't set out to destroy 3 lives, including my own. But the truth. Love doesn't wait for your permission. My name is Eliza Monroe. I'm a 22-year-old reporter. And I married 2 men. Both of them black, both of them unknowingly sharing my heart and my womb. I met Jeremiah in a crumbling jazz club in New Orleans. It was supposed to be just another human interest piece. Young black entrepreneur revives forgotten culture with a saxophone and a smile. He wore a red linen shirt, sleeves rolled, eyes like melted honey, and a laugh that somehow made the dusty air vibrate. I was 21. A recent NYU grad sent south by a progressive news outlet hoping for edgy stories and low-cost labor. Jeremiah was everything I wasn't. He moved like he belonged everywhere, while I still stuttered when I ordered coffee. Within weeks, I wasn't just reporting his story. I was living in it. We married quietly in a courthouse downtown. No guests, no pictures. Just a promise made in secret, because my contract forbade fraternization. And because I had another life waiting in Harlem. That's where I met Darius. He was a poet, a professor's assistant with a baritone voice that made subway announcements sound like spoken word. I had interviewed him for a piece on the Black literary revival. Our first kiss was under a lamplight flickering over Lenox Avenue. The second was in his apartment, where the walls were lined with Baldwin and Hughes and air that smelled like clove cigarettes and cinnamon tea. I told myself the feelings were innocent, that I was still committed to Jeremiah. But weeks turned into weekends. A moment turned into a month. And then one rainy night, just blocks from the Apollo, Darius proposed. Said yes. And I meant it. Managing 2 husbands is not as glamorous as it sounds. It's logistics, timetables, lies stacked like Jenga blocks. In New Orleans, I was the free-spirited wife who spent long hours writing fiction upstairs. In New York, I was the humble Southern girl, raised Baptist, new to the city, obsessed with black history and soul food. I compartmentalized everything. My phone had 2 SIM cards. I wore a different engagement ring depending on the city. But the human heart isn't built for walls. And mine started to crack. It was during a weekend in Harlem with Darius that I first felt it. That flutter. At first I blamed the greasy Chinese takeout. But when it kept happening, soft and rhythmic like wings brushing inside me, I knew. I was pregnant. Panic rose like heat through my chest. Who's the father? I didn't know. And worse, I didn't want to know. Because in that moment I realized something terrifying. I loved them both. Not equally but wholly. Different parts of me belonged to each man. Jeremiah held my laughter, my spontaneity, the barefoot dancing street poetry side. Darius had my intellect, my ambition, my deepest fears. One knew how I moaned in bed. The other how I cried in the dark. I planned to tell them. Separately. Carefully. But truth has a way of writing its own script. It happened on a Wednesday. I had just flown from New York to New Orleans, my belly barely showing. I walked into Jeremiah's club, expecting his usual grin. Instead he looked pale, fists clenched. "You married him?" he asked quietly. I blinked. "What?" "Darius. Darius Holden. He called me. Said he found your passport in his coat pocket by accident." The name matched the woman I said I married. Silence. Then the sound of jazz playing from the back room like a cruel laugh. I didn't speak. What could I say? He stared at me, his voice cracking. "Are you pregnant, Eliza?" He nodded. He turned away, and the sound of his footsteps on the wooden floor echoed louder than any shout. The truth came out in pieces. Angry voicemails. Missed calls. A picture of a sonogram sent to both men, neither knowing who the father was. Darius was hurt in a quieter way. His heartbreak was subtle, a retreat into books and long silences. I found him one night curled on his apartment floor, a bottle of bourbon in one hand, Baldwin's The Fire Next Time in the other. Was I a placeholder? He asked, his voice trembling. No, I whispered, sitting beside him. You were a mirror. Jeremiah was different. His pain was explosive. Club nights cancelled, trumpets smashed against a wall, fists against a mirror. He sent me a video once. It was him at the courthouse, ripping up our marriage certificate. You made me believe in something sacred, he said. And you pissed on it. I didn't defend myself. Couldn't. Everything I did was selfish. Every decision a compromise disguised as love. The pregnancy became my only truth. My body was no longer mine. It belonged to this new life, this child whose DNA carried both confusion and innocence. A month passed. Then a call from Darius. I want to be in the baby's life, whether he's mine or not. He deserves someone stable. You clearly are still figuring that out. Cried. A week later, Jeremiah sent a photo. Crib. Made. Painted the same red as his favorite shirt. The message just read. For him. Or her. I never expected either man to forgive me. But they did something stranger. They showed up. Not for me. For the baby. The three of us sat in the hospital room the night I gave birth. It was a boy. Light brown skin. And eyes. A quiet cry like a whispered apology. We named him Ezra. Darius cut the cord. Jeremiah held my hand. Ezra's 5 now. He has Jeremiah's smile and Darius's eyes. He loves jazz and can recite Maya Angelou from memory. We never did a paternity test. People ask me why. But the truth is, we didn't want to know. Love isn't always linear. It doesn't fit in wedding bands or family trees. Sometimes it's messy and loud and full of shame. But sometimes it becomes something bigger than our mistakes. We co-parent. Darius teaches him piano. Jeremiah takes him fishing. I read him bedtime stories and tell him the truth in pieces, soft enough for now. And me. I still write. But not the same way. My stories aren't about other people anymore. They're about what it means to be human. To love wrong. And still be worthy of love. I once thought I had to choose. That love had rules and boundaries. But Ezra taught me something different. He taught me that from betrayal can bloom something beautiful. That redemption is real, even if it takes the shape of lullabies and tiny footsteps at dawn. I live alone now. Still wear both rings, one on each hand. Some nights when Ezra's asleep and the house is quiet, I sit by the window, hands on my stomach, remembering what it was like to carry love so complicated it broke me open. But I'd do it all again. Because out of all the stories I've ever written, this one, messy and raw and unfinished, is the truest of them all.